එදිනෙදා ඔබේ මුළු සිරුරටම රැකවරණයක්. සුදේශී කොඹ සබන්.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50 අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
To hold or not to hold. Supreme Court to announce decision on election petitions at 3 p.m. tomorrow. As Election Commission Chairman says, ready to hold polls according to health guidelines. Getting ready. Government to carry out PCR tests on all arrivals at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Going high-tech. Public Utilities Commission enters the digital age with the launch of an online public complaints platform. Swaying confidence. LMD Nielsen reports cautious optimism among business community as business confidence drops marginally. All this and much more coming up tonight on First at 9, this Monday, the 1st of June 2020.
සිරා කොක්කක් සෙට් කරගන්න ඔබේ ඇඳුම එළිය රැකගන්න.
නවරින් සෑම සේවීමකින්ම ඇඳුමට අලුත් එළිය.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very warm welcome. This is First at 9 on AdaDerana 24. We begin with your top stories tonight. The 5-member Supreme Court bench hearing the fundamental rights petitions challenging the President's Gazette notification, dissolving Parliament and the announcement of a fresh date for elections by the Election Commission was taken up for the 10th day today. Following submissions by the counsels of the petitioners and respondents, the Supreme Court ruled that the announcement of whether leave would be granted for the fundamental rights petitions will be announced at 3 p.m. tomorrow, the 2nd of June. In addition, the decision on whether interim injunctions will be granted will also be announced at the same time.
The Supreme Court for the 10th day commenced the hearing of the fundamental rights petitions filed challenging the Gazette notification issued by the President dissolving Parliament and the announcement of a fresh election date of 20th June by the Election Commission. The petitions were heard by a 5-member bench of the Supreme Court comprising of Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya and Justices Bhuvaneka Aluvihare, Sisiradi Abru, Priyantha Jayawardena and Vijit Manalgoda. Making representations on behalf of the petitioners, President's Counsel M.A. Sumandiran argued that the dissolution of Parliament does not constitute a jeopardizing of integrity. He argued that hence the dissolution of Parliament simply constitutes the end of a parliamentary term and not in its death. He also pointed out that the President's Gazette notification is rendered null and void if he fails to appoint a new Parliament within the 3-month time frame following dissolution. Attorneys for the respondents then objected that if the relief sought by the petitioners is granted by the court, it would constitute a grave legal error due to all aggrieved parties not being named as respondents, and on that basis the bench was asked to dismiss the petitions without consideration. However, President's Counsel Sumandiran dismissed the objection and said that it is not compulsory to name all parties who are affected by such fundamental rights cases, and that the Attorney General alone being named as a respondent should suffice. He then requested the court to grant the interim injunction requested by the petitioners and permission to hear the case, as in all intents and purposes it was evident that a case in point existed. President's Counsel Sadia Piris, appearing on behalf of the Election Commission, dismissed allegations by the petitioners and the Attorney General that his clients had deliberately delayed the election. The bench then ruled that the announcement on whether leave would be granted for the fundamental petitions will be announced at 3 p.m. tomorrow, the 2nd of June. The decision on whether or not to grant the interim injunctions demanded by the petitioners will also be announced tomorrow.
Chairman of Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya said today that Election Commission is hopeful of holding parliamentary elections as soon as possible in accordance with the health guidelines that have been issued by the Ministry of Health. He made these comments during a media briefing that was held at the Election Commission today.
समस्त लोके पुरा පැතිර कोविड වසංගතයේ ව්‍යාප්තිය හේතුවෙන් එය පාලනය කිරීම සඳහා 2021 වර්ෂයේ අවසානයේත් නිසි ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට අපහසු බව ලෝකයේ වෛද්‍ය විශේෂඥයන් විසින් ප්‍රකාශ කර තිබේ. ඒ අනුව මෙම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයත් ඉදිරියේදී පැවැත්වීමට අපේක්ෂිත පළාත් සභා ඡන්දවීම විසීමත් පවත්වීමට සිදුවනු ඇත්තේ පාලිත කොරෝනා වසංගත තත්ත්වයක් යටතේය. ඒ සඳහා සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන් විසින් මැතිවරණ කමිෂන් සභාව වෙත ලබා දීමට අපේක්ෂිත දැනටමත් කෙටුම්පතක් ලබා දී ඇති මාර්ගෝපදේශ අනුව ක්‍රියාකොට හැකි ඉක්මනින් ඡන්ද විමසීම එනම් පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණය පැවැත්වීමට මැතිවරණ කමිෂන් සභාව අපේක්ෂා කරයි. සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩල ඡන්ද විමසීම් කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයට යොදවා ගැනීමටත් වෛද්‍යවරුන් ප්‍රමුඛ සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයේ ලවා ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථාන නිරතුරුවම අධීක්ෂණයට ලක් කිරීමටත් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් සංවිධානය කිරීමට අපේක්ෂිතය.
කියන ඔබතුමාගේ යටතේ වැඩ කරන විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉදාට වැඩ කරනවා. අකණ්ඩව. ඔවුන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාවට මොන වගේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක්ද අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ?
පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණය පැවැත්වීම නිසා වසංගතය සමාජය තුළ පැතිරීමට කිසිදු ආකාරයක ඉඩකඩක් නොමැති ආකාරයට ක්‍රියා කිරීමට මැතිවරණ කමිෂන් සභාව සෞඛ්‍ය අංශ සමග ක්‍රියා කරනු ඇත.
අධිකරණය කියන ඕන දවසක ඡන්දෙ තියන්න ඔබතුමා ලෑස්ති?
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අධිකරණයේ පවත්නා පෙත්සම් විභාග පිළිබඳව කිසිවක් කීමට නොහැකි බැවින් අධිකරණයේ තීන්දුව අනුව ඡන්ද විමසීමේ දින තීරණය වන්නේද නැද්ද යන්න ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමට හැකියාවක් නැත.
PCR tests for COVID-19 have been made compulsory for all passengers arriving at the Bandaranaike International Airport starting today. Addressing media, Minister of Tourism and Aviation Prasanna Ranathunga said that the measure was taken following a decision by the Presidential Task Force formed to control the COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, operations at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport have commenced, with marine crew transfer processes already taking place, in addition to departure of Sri Lankan migrant workers to South Korea last week. This comes at a time when many countries are still considering opening up their airports for business.
Minister of Tourism Development, Investment Promotion and Civil Aviation Prasanna Ranathunga has stated that steps have been taken to conduct PCR tests at the Bandaranaike International Airport.
අද දවසේ ඉඳන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට පැමිණෙන සියලු ශ්‍රමිකයින්ම ගුවන්තොටුපළ තුලදීම PCR පරීක්ෂණයට ලක් කරලා ඒ වාර්තා එනකන් ඔවුන්ව රඳවා ගැනීමට පත් කරන්න අපි කටයුතු කරනවා. ඒ වාර්තාවෙන් පස්සේ ඒකෙන් පොසිටිව් වෙන අයව රෝහල් ගත කරන්නත් එහෙම නැත්නම් අනික් සියලු දෙනාම නිරෝධාන මධ්‍යස්ථාන යොමු කරන්නත් තමයි කමිටුව යෝජනා කරලා අද ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කටයුතු කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, targeting Mattala as a shipping hotspot, Director of Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka, Shahan Sumanasekara says that an aggressive campaign to promote the airport will be carried out in a bid to draw more airlines.
Last 5 months we have drafted a comprehensive document in how we are going to develop Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. And one of the key factors that we have identified in developing this airport is of course the Sri Lankan employees who are employed in foreign countries. Together with the Foreign Employment Bureau, we had planned to strategically get all these passengers to be processed out of Mattala as opposed to Bandaranaike International Airport. Starting with embarkation levy, we have got 100% waiver for Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. Also for all the airlines parking and landing charges, we have managed to get a waiver for 2 years as well. We have also spoken with Sri Lankan tourism to have inbound tourism happening. So we are really looking at promoting this as a tourist destination as well. We have already seen the crew changes happening via Mattala. A lot of countries are not allowing passengers to transfer in and out of airports and ports. We have taken precedence and we are trying to promote a lot of international crew changes in Sri Lanka. And I think the whole marine shipping industry has started to look at Mattala as a hotspot.
Sri Lanka's 11th COVID-19 death was reported today of a migrant worker who recently arrived from Kuwait. However, no community transmissions have been reported in the past 32 days apart from the current Navy clusters and among foreign arrivals currently in quarantine centres.
A Sri Lankan COVID-19 patient succumbed to the virus today, increasing the number of fatalities up to 11. The patient was a 45-year-old male who arrived from Kuwait on the 19th of May. He was admitted to hospital 7 days after his arrival and was treated at the intensive care unit of the Homagama Base Hospital until his death. Furthermore, it was also confirmed that the patient had also suffered from diabetes.
අපිට ලැබී ඇති සාක්ෂි අනුව ඔහු ධූම්පානයට ඇබ්බැහි වූවෙක් ඒ වගේම දියවැඩියා රෝග තත්ත්වයෙන් පෙළෙන අයෙක්. ඒ හේතුවෙන් ඔහුගේට ශ්වසන ආසාදනය උග්‍ර අතට හැරීම හේතුවෙන් ඔහු මිය ගියා කියන එක අපිට වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ පරීක්ෂණ වලින් තහවුරු වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the final rites of the deceased was carried out today according to quarantine rules and regulations at the Niyandagala crematorium in Homagama. Out of the 1,639 cases reported so far, 811 have recovered, while the amount of active cases stands at 817. In the meantime, 13 cases of infections were confirmed yesterday, with 9 out of the cases foreign arrivals who are currently in quarantine. The infected patients reported yesterday included 7 arrivals from Russia and 2 from Bangladesh, with the other 4 cases confirmed from the Navy. So far, 764 cases have been confirmed from the Navy since the 22nd of April. However, 411 out of them have recovered from the virus so far. A spike in infections has been currently observed among foreign arrivals who are currently in quarantine.
ඊයේ දිනේ PCR පරීක්ෂණ 1420ක් කළා තියෙනවා. මේ PCR පරීක්ෂණ වැඩි අවදානම් රටවලින් පැමිණෙන අය සඳහා ගුවන් තොටුපළ තුලදීම එම පරීක්ෂණ වලට සාම්පල් ලබා ගැනීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියේ ශක්්‍යතාවය සොයා බැලීම සඳහා අද දින නියෝජ්‍ය අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජනරාල් මහජන සේවා ගුවන් තොටුපළට යනවා. මේ අනුව වැඩි අවදානම් රටවල සිට පැමිණෙන උදවියගේ සාම්පල් ගැනීම ගුවන් තොටුපළේදීම සිදු කරනවා ඇති.
In the meantime, biosamples from airport employees were also obtained today. In addition, biosamples were also obtained from 30 people who were randomly selected at the Demanagoda public market and areas in the vicinity. In a separate development, 226 Indians who were stranded in Jaffna were brought to the Gunusingapura bus stand in Petta in order to send them to India via ship, which is to arrive at the Colombo harbour. In the meantime, a special unit was opened at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital to treat children affected by infectious diseases. The financial support for the project was provided by the United Nations Children's Fund, while labour support was provided by the Sri Lankan Navy. In the meantime, the island-wide curfew was lifted this morning at 4 a.m. and will be reimposed at 10 p.m. tonight, and this pattern is to continue until 10 p.m. on the 3rd of June. However, the curfew will be imposed island-wide on the 4th, which is the day prior to Poson Full Moon Poya Day, and the 5th of June, which is the Poson Full Moon Poya Day.
Following a spike in underworld activity observed in the past few days, police acted swiftly to apprehend the suspects involved. Police Special Task Force arrested the second suspect in the Ratmalana restaurant attack in Mathura today, while one other suspect involved in the shooting incident in Maligavatta on Saturday was also taken into custody.
The Police Special Task Force arrested another suspect today in connection with the shooting incident at a restaurant in Soizapura in Ratmalana. The suspect, named as Rosa, was arrested in Mathura by officers of the Special Task Force and was later handed over to the Colombo Crimes Division. It was also revealed that the suspect was involved in underworld activities and is a close associate of the main suspect in the restaurant attack, Angulane Anju, who is currently in hiding in Dubai. Accordingly, both Konda Jania, who was arrested yesterday, and Rosa jointly carried out the shooting on the instructions of Angulane Anju. The arrested suspect Rosa was produced before the Mathura Magistrates Court this afternoon, who ordered the suspect to be detained for questioning. In another development, the Colombo Crimes Division also made another arrest in connection with the shooting incident carried out at the Lakseta Savannah housing complex in Maligavatta last Saturday. Furthermore, 2 grams and 600 milligrams of heroin were also discovered in the suspect's possession.
And we'll return with your business news after this short break. Do stay with us.
කොරෝනා වෛරසයේ පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Welcome back to the news. The Public Utilities Commission has announced the launch of a host of avenues for receiving complaints from both the general public as well as stakeholders of the electricity and lubricant industry. Thereby, starting today, the Commission will be granted to receive such complaints via special hotlines as well as social media and via its official website.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, the country's electricity sector regulator and the shadow regulator of the lubricant industry, has launched an online platform for the general public to file complaints with regards to services. The PUCSL seeks to address all consumer complaints and address stakeholder issues online and has requested the public to make use of the platforms to connect with the Commission. Hence, the Commission can now be contacted via the following: Complaints and inquiries can be submitted via the hotlines 0112 392 607 or 0112 392 608 from Monday to Friday between 8:30 am to 4:30 pm. In addition, complaints or inquiries can also be forwarded via WhatsApp, Viber and Emo on 0770 126 253. Further, the public can also visit the official website www.pucsl.gov.lk or email the Commission through consumers@pucsl.gov.lk. Consumers can also contact the Commission via Facebook on facebook.com/PUCSL. Meanwhile, electricity and lubricant market stakeholders can call 0770 126 250 to inquire about services related to the industries and related regulations. Further, all information requests can also be submitted to info@pucsl.gov.lk by email or through Facebook and by calling 0764 271 030. The PUCSL also requests the public and stakeholders to make advance appointments by calling 0112 392 607 or 0112 392 608 if they wish to visit the office to obtain services. Appointments can also be made by emailing requests to info@pucsl.gov.lk or through Facebook. The Commission added that the relevant division will process such requests and contact the stakeholder regarding the appointment or seek to resolve the issues online.
The Attorney General had directed the Colombo Crimes Division to obtain an arrest warrant against the former OIC of the Valikada police station, ASP Sudatta Asmadalla. The ASP had been charged with fabricating evidence in the near-fatal hit-and-run case involving former MP Patli Champika Ranawaka and a motorcycle last year.
A youth from Godagama sustained severe injuries when the motorcycle he was travelling on collided with a jeep driven by the then Minister Patli Champika Ranawaka. Subsequently, the former MP's driver Dilum Tusita Kumara surrendered to court in connection with the incident. However, the driver later confessed in court that he was not behind the wheel at that time and that he surrendered to the Boralla police upon instructions received by the former minister. Based on the evidence presented, the former minister was arrested and remanded and was later released on bail. The Deputy Solicitor General had informed court that the police had acted in a manner that would provide some relief to the person who surrendered in relation to the traffic incident, while adding that the verdict delivered by the magistrate of the traffic courts is currently being studied. In this backdrop, the Attorney General has instructed the Colombo Crimes Division to seek a warrant for the arrest of ASP Sudat Asmadalla, who was serving as the OIC of the Valikada police on charges of fabricating evidence in connection with the traffic incident.
Taking you to business news, the LMD Nielsen Business Confidence Index has shown a drop for the month of May to 89, mainly as a result of COVID-19 related lockdown restrictions. However, the report also highlighted a sense of cautious optimism among the corporate sector with regards to the future of their businesses following the gradual resumption of economic activity. Further, the report said that an improvement in the index would depend on whether the virus makes a comeback or not, which could extend the lockdown restrictions throughout the country.
The LMD Nielsen Business Confidence Index reports a drop in the index for the month of May to 89 from 93 in April. However, the report says that this represents a less sharp decline from the month earlier, when the index plummeted by as much as 52 basis points. The report adds that the barometer remains still higher than where it was in the immediate aftermath of the Easter Sunday attacks last year, where a drop of 62 basis points was experienced in the month of May. In the report, Nielsen's Director of Consumer Insights, Terika Miyanadeniya, observed that there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel, with Sri Lanka having managed the virus more effectively than most countries, adding that the country must now count its losses with the effect having spread across all sectors, individuals and fibre of society. She added that due to this, people, institutions, companies and sectors have been called upon to adjust the way they operate, since life may not be the same again post-COVID-19. In terms of sensitivities, the report says that the COVID-19 virus has emerged as the most critical sensitivity in terms of business performance, overshadowing issues such as inflation, currency performance and high taxes. In that context, most respondents consulted in the Business Confidence Survey cited the spread of the virus as the main national concern, followed by the economy and the adverse impact of daily wage earners. In terms of projections, the report says that the current sentiment seems to be holding among a greater number of corporates, with cautious optimism being voiced with regards to the future of their businesses. In addition, it says that the key factor in driving the Business Confidence Index is whether the prospect of a general election being held in the near future may deliver political stability or not. However, the report says that this would depend on whether the virus makes a comeback or not, which could extend the lockdown restrictions throughout the country.
The Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka at its meeting held last week decided to suspend the primary dealer license issued to NAT Wealth Securities Limited for a period of 6 months from June 1st. This decision comes after the board had considered the company's continuous failure to comply with the applicable directions and issued the suspension under the terms of the regulations made under the Registered Stocks and Securities Ordinance and the Local Treasury Bills Ordinance. Central Bank said it will take necessary measures to ensure that the regulatory action will not have a disruptive impact on the government securities market. Further action will also be taken to facilitate the handling of the interests of customers and counterparts of NAT Wealth Securities in an orderly manner. And Colombo stocks closed 1.06% lower today, dragged down by profit-taking in banking shares. The benchmark all-share price index closed 51.36 lower, while the S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks closed 53.88 points down. Market turnover amounted to 839.9 million rupees, with 34 stocks climbing and 110 making losses. Here's a brief report on today's performance.
Today we saw the market declining again for the second consecutive session. However, the negative sentiment today was slightly higher than yesterday. So the SPI fell by around 51 points, while also the S&P SL20 also fell by about 51 points. So the market closed below the psychological barrier of 4,800, which is slightly a negative factor, which can lead further downside in the market. So we saw a lot of foreign activity today. Foreign participation was comparatively higher to previous days, which means that there was a lot of foreign transactions, mainly concentrating in John Case holdings.
The rupee closed at 186 rupees and 10 cents against the greenback today. On Friday, the Sri Lankan currency closed at 186.20 to 30 cents against the US dollar in the spot market. Here's a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies of the world during the day. Former Colombo Stock Exchange Chairman and veteran banker Nihal Fonseca and Institute of Policy Studies Executive Director Dr. Dusni Veerakorn vacated their positions at the Central Bank's Monetary Board, which is responsible for monetary policy decision-making. The letters of resignation were submitted to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa a few days ago, and today was the last day on the board. The Monetary Board includes the Governor of Central Bank, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, and 3 non-executive members. And we take a short break on First at 9. Do stay with us. That's all the news for tonight. Good night.